Hi, everyone. Welcome to the March 2022 edition of Pitch Perfect. Very excited to have you all here with us today. So ahead of just getting started there, wanted to run through quick kind of forward-looking statements. So just be mindful of the fact that this presentation may contain forward-looking information. There can be no assurance that forward-looking information will prove to be accurate, as actual results in future events could differ materially from those anticipated in the statement. So accordingly, viewers should not place undue reliance on forward-looking information. And now I'd like to turn things over to PROPetual REIT and their CEO Ravi to talk about land development investment opportunities across Metro Vancouver. So Ravi, take it away.
Thank you, Trish. Like Trish mentioned, my name is Ravi. I am the Director of Finance and Investment at Isle of Man Property Group. And we're here today to talk about a new company that was actually started by Isle of Man Property Group principals, including myself as president, which is PROPetual Capital Partners. And PROPetual Capital Partners was basically founded to give investors direct access into land development investment opportunities across Metro Vancouver. Now, land development, quite simply put, is this exercise of extracting the highest and best use out of a piece of property through the actual land development process, which is akin to real estate manufacturing, as in taking it through the entitlement process and then constructing it into a bona fide real estate asset, whether it be office, retail, or industrial, or multifamily. And we do that by leveraging the fact that we are a real estate development firm in and of ourselves, and we're completely vertically integrated from the initial capital allocation in Isle of Man Capital Corporation to the design and development aspects and entitlement process through Isle of Man Development Corporation, and the actual self-performing general contracting capabilities of Isle of Man Construction Ltd. And for any assets that we maintain as an actual income producing property, we employ Isle of Man Management Services to maintain the property itself and also maximize the profitability through leasing management. Now, PROPetual Capital was meant to present a series of investment funds, and we're here today to talk about our inaugural fund, our flagship fund, for lack of a better term, and that is PROPetual REIT. And PROPetual REIT is a private Canadian real estate investment trust that is registered funds eligible, such as RSP and TFSAs and RESPs, and we target a 15 to 20% annualized return through the actual exercise of taking an entitled project and executing on it. And that includes the financing, marketing, constructing, and actual selling of that asset. And we do that, like I mentioned earlier, by utilizing Isle of Man's vertically integrated capabilities. And we achieve those targeted returns while also executing on some pretty ambitious ESG targets as well. Now, PROPetual REIT was developed in response to two long-standing gaps that we identified in the market. And quite simply put, a quote-unquote retail investor has historically been unable to get access into land development properties, land development investment opportunities, because the minimum investment historically has been prohibitively high. And what PROPetual REIT does is that we lower that minimum investment to $5,000, and for another 2 days, we've actually lowered that further to $1,000 in a FrontFundr exclusive offering for FrontFundr subscribers. And the fact that it's such a low minimum investment and also accessible for investment through RSPs and TFSAs, it allows retail investors for the first time to gain access to those land development opportunities and align the long-term savings of our registered funds accounts to access opportunities to generate long-term investment goals. And secondly, accredited investors who might already have access to land development investment opportunities are often subjected to a very high degree of management fees, anything from 40 to 50% of profits right off the top, with no real management incentive structure to overperform on those target returns. Whereas PROPetual REIT, we employ a very standard institutional level waterfall promote structure fee, which essentially it incentivizes us as investment managers to overperform on the 20% targeted return. Now, fundamental to our investment thesis is the fact that we will be investing in Metro Vancouver, because at being Metro Vancouver developers, this is our backyard. And you know, that the most important thing here is that we are landlocked. Our supply is severely limited, and that is by the North Shore Mountains to the north, Pacific Ocean to the west, US border to our south, and the agricultural land reserve predominantly as an eastern border, which prevents urban sprawl. So inherent in that land lock, you know, supply tends to be very low, and also by sheer virtue of how slow the land entitlement process is, the demand has outpaced supply for the better part of a decade now. And as a result, we are now in a bona fide housing crisis. And so that's fundamental to considering why we focus on the Metro Vancouver market. But perhaps most importantly, it's an Isle of Man stronghold. And more specifically, the fund will be targeting Surrey and Langley, which in our opinion exhibit the best balance of the three fundamental characteristics for land development investment, and that is population growth. Surrey and Langley are the two fastest growing municipalities in the Metro Vancouver region. As of the last census, Surrey is close to 10% annualized growth, and Langley was 14%. And investment in public infrastructure being number two. And with the recent expansion of the Surrey-Langley SkyTrain extension, that is arguably the greatest infrastructure projects that could be introduced to any one of the Metro Vancouver municipalities, considering how connected it makes it to the greater Vancouver area, and affordability. Affordability is an issue across Metro Vancouver, but Surrey and Langley offer the most affordable homes while also leveraging the long-standing, globally recognized beauty of Metro Vancouver. Fundamental to land development is knowing and understanding the risks. So by partnering with Isle of Man Property Group, a great degree of this is actually already mitigated by virtue of it being a 25-year land development property group with vertically integrated capabilities. It is naturally insulated from prevailing execution risks that might otherwise be more inexperienced development companies might be subjected to. Typical market risk, which are these external factors that might play into the desirability of your project as markets fluctuate, are mitigated by only acquiring projects from Isle of Man's pipeline of qualified land development opportunities, which have already been rigorously analyzed in terms of their strategic location and marketing power. And ultimately, in land development, entitlement risk is perhaps the most prevailing risk, and we mitigate that by only purchasing projects that have secured what we call preliminary layout approval or preliminary entitlements, which is basically a conditionally zoned project. And projects that attain this milestone is essentially the council telling a developer that, you know, we agree with your project, and you know, provided that you execute this laundry list of remaining items to be resolved, at the next council meeting, you will get your your entitlements. Now, before I sign off here, I just wanted to touch base briefly on our, like I said, industry leading ESG targets. And predominantly our two cornerstones of that strategy are our partnership with World Housing and Veritree. And through World Housing, we're partnering with them to fund 100% of new community construction in developing countries. And with Veritree, we are committing to reforesting 100 acres of land for every 1 acre of land that we develop. So not to say that other companies aren't exploring ESG targets, but we like to think that ours are fairly ambitious, and we're very excited to get going on those. And you know, I know probably went a little bit over time here, but I think perhaps the most important part here is to give a little bit of an explanation as to what the workings behind our industry and really why PROPetual REIT is such an exciting opportunity at the end of the day, is to finally, for the first time in history, give a retail investor an opportunity to be part of the conversation through land development investment, whether it be through a minimum investment of $5,000 or by finally being able to access their registered fund savings account to do that. So I'll turn it over to you now, Trias, for any questions.
That's great, Ravi. Really appreciate it there. I think fantastic overview of kind of your decision to choose Metro Vancouver. I think, you know, obviously we know how expensive the market is here. I live here. I'm very aware of how difficult it is to get into the housing market. So it's really great to kind of hear that selection criteria. And definitely Surrey and Langley are growing cities. I believe, you know, Surrey is projected to outpace Vancouver in terms of population and just overall the level of their economy there. So really great to see that thesis. We are actually at kind of the 10-minute time mark, but I do want to give you an opportunity to at least get a question in. So for those of you who aren't able to ask PROPetual REIT a question today, I do encourage you to go to their campaign page and ask them any questions. In particular, as Ravi noted, they are closing this week. So they've got a closing date of March 31st, and they are running a limited time offer for $1,000 investments to the FrontFundr community. So now really is a great time to be considering your investment. So Ravi, I guess just anything that you'd like to kind of wrap up with in terms of why PROPetual is a great investment decision and kind of the track record that both PROPetual and Isle of Man have had in the past?
Absolutely. You know, like I mentioned, we've been around for more than 25 years now, and PROPetual REIT, at the end of the day, was developed in response to create a vehicle for our family and friends to access the type of wealth generating capacity that only land development really can achieve at the end of the day, while also providing the security in the investment in the land at the end of the day. This isn't an investment in a piece of paper, a shareholder stock that, you know, could in a company that could go south for whatever reason. But, you know, this is, at the end of the day, is backed by a company with close to 30-year history, is secured by the actual land at the end of the day. And, you know, for once, we're now taking the elitism out of that profoundly lucrative investment opportunity, and now democratizing it, making it available to the masses. So, you know, we hope people will join us in that journey.
That's great, and definitely a perfect fit for FrontFundr in terms of democratizing that access. So really great to have you guys on the platform, and thank you so much for the pitch today, Ravi. Really appreciate it. So thanks to everyone who has joined us. Just as we're closing things up today, just wanted to finish, for anyone new who's not as familiar with FrontFundr and what we do, just introduce ourselves in being Canada's leading equity crowdfunding platform. We make it easy for all Canadians to invest in exciting startups and growth stage businesses, just as the 5 that you saw here today. And if you have any questions about getting started on FrontFundr, definitely recommend that you visit our website to learn more, and reach out to our support team at any time if you have have questions, they're able to assist you through the investment process and to answer any questions that you may have about the investment opportunity as well. So to all the attendees who joined us today, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time. We hope you join us again for the April edition of Pitch Perfect. And to all of our panelists today, thank you so much for your time, for telling us more about your businesses. It's so great to hear the mission and visions of what you do. You guys all have very admirable goals and are creating, very positive change. So really appreciate that. Thank you so much to everyone, and hope to see you all again soon.